And it is once again sports chat time, ladies and gentlemen. A few big things to talk about this week. Got several athletes from the area going to state in track. We went to Hardin Valley in a meet that saw some weather delay. But we have from Campbell County High School, Shayla Goins going both the shot put and the discus. Kristen Chapman going in the 300-meter hurdles, the high jump, and the pentathlon. From Anderson County, you've got KK Brummett, who's this week officially signed papers with Charleston Southern. She's going to be in both throwing events. And Kendra Miller is going to be in the 100-meter hurdles, as is Aaron Pittman, her teammate. And Rusty Provins, the one-man track wrecking machine himself, is going to be throwing shot and discus at the state as well. Now, interesting note on Rusty. Luke and I went to Life Point Church today up at the high school. We got on the wall up there, you got, the Hall of Fame. People who've won state titles and such, most of which are in track. And actually, all the titles are in track. There's the state tournament appearance basketball team.
And there's a few also golf and tennis theirs too.
But you look there and you've got Big Paul in his high school days. He won in discus. Rusty's already out throwing. Rusty qualified on a throw that I'm pretty sure was bigger than Paul's winning throw. Rusty's freshman.
It just tells you where athletes come nowadays. It's like even back when we were in high school, I can remember Tennessee got their first 300-pound offensive lineman.
That's true. And who would have thought?
Every offensive lineman, you're considered undersized if you're only 300 pounds on the offensive line.
Some big guys. And looking, Kristen Chapman have a plaque for her on the wall. She won third place when she was a freshman. She won a state title last year as a sophomore, and she's looking to repeat and defend her crown this year.
She's probably going to do it too. Locally, in East Tennessee, no one's had any girl who can touch her in the high jump.
The only one we even saw her have any sort of problem, and she actually did not place first, was the Vol Classic.
A girl from, I believe, Georgia won that one. But in the state of Tennessee, I've not saw anybody else, at least in East Tennessee, jump higher than 5'4", and Kristen's got a high this year of 5'8". That would have actually qualified her for a medal in the boys' event at sectionals this weekend.
Speaking of sectionals, Nick Litton did just miss state in the high jump. But Nick's just a junior, so he's going to have another shot at it.
Technically, he tied the height of 6 feet with the people who got to go to state, but he failed on his first jump, and the other guy made it on his first jump. That's how they have the tiebreakers in track.
Yeah, because you get the 3 scratch opportunities. It was a hot day. We didn't have quite the coverage we would have liked to because the rules are you can't have cameras in the infield. That's not been something we've dealt with this year.
They're willing to overlook it in any other events we've been to, basically, but the TSSAA is very strict with sectionals. Personally, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But
no.
Also, Luke and John almost had to take over as sports editors at some point because I almost got taken out by an errant discus.
Yes.
Sadly, I didn't have the camera on for that one.
Really wish we had one. We both had cameras, and neither one of them were ready to be on.
You did look like a tiny dancer over there.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this.
High-stepping it.
If you'll go to YouTube, go to the Volunteer Times YouTube channel, find the Caitlin Brummett discus throw from the sectionals at Hardin Valley, and look at my background conversation with La Follette Press sports editor Dwayne Wilder. I gesture wild as
Tell he has theater experience because he's acted out the scene.
But very proud of those athletes. They worked hard all year. I wish all of them could go, but these were the top 4 finishers.
That's something to be proud of. The top 8 get medals. The top 4 get to go to state. So. Campbell County had some medal winners on the boys' side. Just no way it quite qualified for state because the rule in Nick's case.
You know, you also have, you know, various other stuff going on. Of course, Campbell County's out of the rest of the spring sports now. There is going to be a summer track program, though. And KTC, the Knoxville Track Club, does summer track. I actually can't think of a more miserable sport to do in the summer, except for something where you would have to wear like a rubber suit. But
yeah, there's not many of those sports that take place above water, though.
that's true. Summer volleyball league's about to start up. AAU basketball is on a roll right now. Courtney Morris and Maria Faust had a team that played locally this week in town.
Played 3 games, went 2-1, and Courtney said she had some really great games, so she's getting tuned up. And she's fired up for next year.
We were actually originally intending to cover these games, but the fiasco that was Super Twain kind of threw a wrench into that.
Yeah, Super Twing caused quite a bit of trouble this weekend.
Which you can read about. Pat has written some stories on.
Jeremy Young has a story up. I have a column up.
Yeah.
If you go to volunteertimes.com, it's there. There's some video up. There's a lot of stuff out there. But back to Courtney, she's, you know, we've talked at length. Well, actually, to Courtney and to Amber Young. They're definitely the two talkers out of the basketball team.
Kristen Chapman, she's a wonderful young lady, great athlete. Boy, you can't get a word out of her.
She is a quiet one. Shayla will talk a little bit. Courtney Miller, if I can run into her, will actually talk a little bit. But Courtney Morris and Amber Young have made it very clear that they want their shot to, you know, take Campbell County basketball to the state level.
Yeah. And they also want their shot at Halls, which is apparently their big rival because of some on-the-court issues with some of the girls that play for Halls.
Apparently they have some hockey goons playing for the Halls
The
girls
Halls team wants to thug it up a little bit. They're looking forward, to say the least, to playing Halls this year. They're good for a good game. You know, those girls are, like I said, we've talked about them before, they're really great basketball players. Entire team coming back from a team that really did very well last year.
Was this close to advancing into the region against a Farragut team that I think had only lost 5 games all year, and they took it to a last-second shot.
So, I mean, this should be their year. There's going to be a lot of seniors. This should be the year that they hopefully can get over the hump and get back to state. Like the type team, I think my junior year with Audrey Ork and
my senior, we were looking at that picture and that basketball today. You know, that's 1991 is the last time that a Campbell County basketball team has appeared in the actual Murfreesboro State tournament. I mean, obviously Jellicoe was in the sectional first round of the tournament, which is the precursor to the tournament. But as far as actually making the trip to MTSU, 1991, folks. They had the 20-year celebration of it this year at a game where I was already committed to be at a Jacksboro game.
I'm not certain whether any of the old La Follette or Jacksboro High teams made it that far. I know La Follette used to have a lot of good basketball teams.
Right, and you know Jacksboro, they had a couple. Jacksboro's really came along as a basketball school lately. Not unlike La Follette's really came along as a football school lately.
Other news, a lot of possibly distressing stuff about the Campbell County football coaching situation.
This is not good. Coach Minot, okay, you know, he was brought in. He was promised a lot of things as far as the staff he was going to be able to put in place and that sort of thing. As of right now, it is still him and Josh James, and it is through no fault of Coach Minot.
No, not at all.
This has been an administrative thing. You know, he came in at, as strange as this is to say, because I could name a lot of incidents, he came in at one of the lowest points of Campbell County School Board politics. Yeah. A board that is famous for its low points.
And there's, go ahead, Luke.
And honestly, I mean, I'm just looking at it logistically as someone's been involved with football coaching. There is no possible way for those two to do anything worthwhile with those kids, which is 2 of them. It's just logistically impossible.
You're right.
For on that level to do it with 2 people.
Most schools have wrapped up their spring practice already.
or at least are very far into
You
it.
know, I'm not even started. We've not even started actual.
As far as I know, we
practice,
have not started.
As far as I know, I mean, we're in the weight room a little bit, but and get him his coaches that he was promised.
Yeah.
You know, this guy came in with a better resume than I ever thought Campbell County would be able to get a coach with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, stunningly good. I mean, the guy has been an offensive coordinator on the college level. He's played college and professional football. You know, he wants to bring in top flight coaches.
You know, if
He was promised that ability.
give him the money, give him whatever it takes, get the positions. You know, you promised him this, get it to him.
Let's actually make a push to make Campbell County an improved program. I mean, Dwayne Wells showed us that we can go to the playoffs.
You know, we should go to the playoffs probably every couple of years at worst.
Right.
Any other program in the region basically does, except for the Campbell County program.
I mean, even Carnes has had playoff appearances. You know, I hate to say it, but I mean, Carnes and Campbell County has often been the battle of the cellar dwellers in
You know,
football.
We're both huge schools, so that really doesn't make any sense. You should be able to put a team out there that can compete, and I believe that Coach Minot will be able to do that if he's given the resources he was promised originally.
You're right, and it's frustrating because, you know, they got rid of Wells, the most successful coach in the history of Campbell County, had the reins for 10 years. You know, now they bring in Minot after two other coaches that, no offense to Justin Price or Tony Lambert, less qualified than Minot, turned them down.
I mean, you know, by this essentially a miracle, Minot fell into our lap.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Give him what he needs. You don't want to upset him before he can even coach a game. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean, he's coached folks from here. I'm sure he had to have an idea what went on here.
I'm not sure if this is coming from the athletic director and principal of Campbell County, or if it's coming from the school board, the athletic advisory board, or what. You know, whoever it's coming from, you all need to get together and make sure your promises that you made are fulfilled.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not fair to the kids.
No.
You know, I talked to Phoenix Asher at the movies the other night. I mean, he's tickled to death to be playing under Minot. Said he's learned a lot of great stuff.
Well, you saw from Ethan Jeffers, our interview with him a few weeks ago, how excited he was to be around Coach Minot as an incoming freshman. Ethan's a really good football player, one we need to keep in.
And he's one that if this turmoil keeps up, he'll wind up gone.
Yeah, I mean, you can't afford to lose. I mean, he's really a future, essentially franchise quarterback for Campbell.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the records he set in middle school would actually beat probably Campbell County's
I
quarterback
can't
records.
imagine any quarterback ever threw for as many yards at Campbell County. Maybe not even their. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't in their career last year.
Maybe career-wise, maybe J.J. Dower. Maybe.
And that's a big. I mean, you know, because that was what he threw for over almost 2,500 yards.
I'll put it, I mean, out of all the Jacksboro quarterbacks, I mean, Jamie Chadwell, J.R. Cephas, Justin Price, Nick Derry, none of them had numbers like that. And, you know, those guys all had great careers. You know, J.R. owned all the Knoxville passing leagues for a while. Jamie
Unfortunately, they had great careers at Anderson County and in Knoxville.
and Knox Catholic. You're right.
Places like that.
You're absolutely right. You know, but
And I would rather, you know, Ethan's not made any indication that he's going to go anywhere but Campbell
Ethan's
County.
happy, or he's with his friends.
But he loves it. He loves Coach Minot. You know, just fulfill your promises. Athletic advisory board, school board, administration, whoever.
Right, fans. We're running short on this segment. We'll be back with the second segment. We'll talk more about it. We'll talk about UT sports. We'll make fun of some people.